Hey there, welcome back. It's a new morning. I can so I played this game almost the entire day yesterday. Many hours, as you could tell by the number of numerous videos that it's taken to get to this point. And I did almost all of it in one marathon session. And you can tell when it was already 1:30 in the morning. I was I was actually wanting to do another turn, but I was feeling the tiredness. But the thing that creeps in is your brain just gets foggy. And that's how I felt playing this at the end. So I feel sharper. And one of the reasons my brain was foggy, and I know I ended up figuring it out, this is my problem child. And I could have used the combination of actions here and then the free actions I got earlier. I could have put an improving US marker here and then later actually improved it. Um, I would have had to get this to 0, but I would have been able to start removing it. I just needed to remove 2 influence, and that would have prevented the bases from happening. So no matter who goes now, they're getting a base because their economy is through the roof. They're going to have a buttload of actions. Um, Anyways, let's see who that's going to be. So I roll a 5, and that is Russia. That's going to act. And I guess the only good news about that is, the bad news is their relationship is trending down. It would have been nice to get them up high enough so their posture would have changed. Um, but it is what it is. So, all right, let me get out the Russia and we can go. I do have the ability to connect my phone to my computer and then use my phone as a camera. So I was thinking, okay, I can have a second camera going, and then I can switch to that so you could see the documentation. It is something I'm considering. It would take some setup to do, and I have to confess to you all, I'm feeling really lazy today. I just want to play a game and relax. It's a Sunday, and I didn't want to have to, because I actually would have to physically move to a desk to pull that off. I'm literally sitting in a lazy boy chair when I play this. It is the ultimate comfort to sit and play this game. And part of the reason why I like Tabletop Simulator. So to move somewhere where you guys can have a second camera, I need to go to a table. And yeah, my dog, I have like this little uh, cushioned ottoman looking thing that I put my mouse on, and it's perfectly at the perfect height for my hand and my mouse. Well, that's what my dog hops up on. That's why you always hear me talking about her interfering with my stuff, which she does, and she just did a few seconds ago. Okay, so we're in Russia. We check for auto loss. There is no auto loss situation. They don't have 9 of anything. NATO is very close. All that stuff is true. So then we look at the posture. It's currently posture 1, and no, I'm sorry, it's currently posture 2. The sum of flip tensions need to be 0 or 1, and the relations need to be at 4 or 5 in order for them to go back to posture 1, which neither of those are the case. Alright, so we've got to look at their tension first of all. So they got 2 points, which is nothing. Alright, so I'm skipping. We're going to look at their capabilities. They're going to go after the capabilities that are 2 higher first. So we have, so Russia is 2 behind, they're 3 behind here, and they're 2 behind there. So there's 3 of them. So we're going to roll for which one is not going to happen. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're not going to go after this one. They'll go after these 2. And they succeed in a posture 1 with a, or posture 2, with a 1 to 5 is a success. So we're going to start with the naval forces. That's a success. Then we're going to start with cyber warfare. This one we want to fail. Come on, come on. It succeeds. So we were getting a -2 DRM as long as they didn't move up. Now that becomes a -1. That affects our game. It really does. The -2 DRM is really nice. Okay. Oh, they make 3 attempts. So they will try this one too. That's the one that failed. I wish it was the other way around, personally. Okay, so they are done. Next, they conduct espionage. They're going to make 2 attempts. I don't think they have an espionage marker. They do not. So here's attempt 1. They rolled a 10. Failure exposes Russia's cyber intel. This is awesome. Place a free DARPA counter on the cyber warfare track and a +2 DRM to next espionage counter on Russia. So the +2 DRM is this one. There's only one of those tokens given to us. That's funny. Anyways, I guess it's because China got it first and then Russia's gone twice. Anyways, they're doing another espionage attempt immediately after this, so they're just going to get a +2 on the next roll. So what they're saying is we get a free DARPA here, but we're already maxed out. So it's not something I particularly care for. We want to put DARPA in 2 other places. So I'm just going to not do it. Because we don't get any bonus. There's no more. Unless they let us go to 8 and keep going. I don't know if that's the way the game works. Alright. That was the first attempt. Now they're going to get a +2 because they failed. Oh, hold on. We're not done. Yeah, we're done. They need a 12 or more for really bad stuff to happen. Okay, so now they're rolling again, but this time they get a +2. Let's get another 10, baby. Come on. Oh, we did! Alright, finally the dice goes our way. They now have a 12, and this is where it gets super interesting. U.S. counterintelligence identifies major Russian cyber espionage network on Western soil. Place a trending anti-U.S. counter on Russia relations. So, unfortunately, it does mean they go down. Then we can either apprehend the spies, remove 1 Russia influence counter from the Eurozone, and 1 from Eastern Europe. I don't have one on either. Place a -1 AP counter on Russia and a +2 on next espionage, or use your counterintelligence treasure trove to create long-term advantage and feed disinformation to Russia. Immediately decrease Russian cyber warfare capability by 1 box. I am totally doing this. Oh, you go down. You go down. All right. And then increase Russia-NATO relative strength on the conflict track by 1 box in NATO's favor. Then place a +2 DRM for the remainder of the game on Russia. Oh, why would I ever choose the other option? I guess it's to get rid of influence markers. Remainder of the game, folks, right there. Bam! If there's already such a marker, ignore this result. Oh, and then there's some DRM modifiers. So their stride, for example, their cyber warfare would have given them a +1 to that last roll. So they actually would have gotten an 11 the first time they tried. Oh, okay. This is fine. All of this would have worked out exactly like it just did. So even though we had a +1 here, That would have put them to an 11. That still wasn't enough. They needed to roll 12, which is what we got this second time. So everything that we just did played out. I just there was some DRMs at the bottom on the next page that I wasn't paying attention to. All of our allies are very close. I mean, that's the stuff that would have changed it. Okay, next they're going to try to roll for their economy. No change. Well, hold on. There's modifiers. Okay, yeah, so here it says -1 per Russian influence counter. But I think in the FAQ, this is where it's saying it's actually a +1. Because a Russian influence counter wouldn't move it in favor. Or, no, I'm sorry. They do want minus. Because they want an improving economy. So they do get a -3 here. Which does make it and improve the economy. So basically, that happens. Alright, and the number of actions they're going to get is 7, +1, and then -1. So 7 total, which is a lot. We need their economy to go down. Okay, first action. If there's at least 5 terror groups, and this is something we've never been able to do, but, so we're on 7. We're going to use this as our counter. So there is 3, 4, 5, 6 terror group value in South Asia. I intentionally let it get that high because I knew that this was always an action. So that's actually going to spend one of their actions, which is good for us. Because they're going to fight terrorism. Use 1 Russia action to remove 1 terror level from the largest group in the region. This represents the Russia dealing with internal dissent. So that's excellent. So we didn't have to do anything. We get them to lower it down to a 2. Perfecto. And that spent one of their actions. And next, they're going to quell internal. So we want them to roll low on this one. They do add 1 because their posture is 2. We need them to get a very low number here. That is not going to cut the mustard. They don't spend an action just dealing with internal strife. They're not at war, so we skip. The Syrian intervention. If there are no civil war markers in the Middle East, yeah, it says skip this action. So we're skipping all this. So now we move down to cyber attacks. Oh, I rolled this die, didn't I? Yes, I did. So we started with 7. We were down to 6. Now we're at 5. I can't roll this die. I gotta roll a different one. Alright, so we're doing cyber attack. Here we go. One is they are trying to target the US economy. And remember, we're 2 higher. A 4 is a success, even if we're better. So they put a worsening economy counter on the US track. So all that does is take this off. Next one, they rolled a 10. They're targeting Eastern Europe democracies. And they failed. So both of those are done. Nope, they do 3 attacks at posture 2. 9, I think is still the Eastern Europe democracies. And a 9 is a fail. Alright, next action. They're doing Gray Zone to expand their influence in neighboring regions. They're going to make a base. So this is the thing we knew was going to happen. They're down to 4 actions. And this base actually hurts us. That's why I was trying so hard to prevent it. So there it is, the Russia base. 3 influence. I don't know why that influence. There was multiple influence markers on that spot. Alright, so they have a base, and I wish they would spell this out in a different like bullet, but the relations with Congress drops by 1 and public approval by 2. And then they get a anti-U.S. So that drops by 1. This drops by 2. So here's what I don't like. I mean, it's just they constantly. I mean, they never want to be our friends. And it might be true. And I think maybe I just let them be. Maybe we got to start bringing their. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I can do to harm them, other than we're just trying to stay above them, which I think is thematic. I mean, how do you harm Russia? You don't. Most of the people there are good, hardworking people. They're just playing these political games with their leaders. Um. Okay. So that's done. It's we just do the one action and that's it. I've never done anything else. Well, actually, they can expand influence, but that's only if they didn't make a base. So next, we compromise to remove sanctions. I should probably just start putting sanctions on them. If they're going to constantly be a jerk and not be our friends, we might as well just sanction them instead of trying to do summits with them. Um, I don't know. The thing is if we do a summit 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and each time we improve the relationship, we can make them move up. It's just that these events immediately slam it back down. All right. Compromise. Yeah, okay, we did that one. Secure, exploit the Arctic. This is definitely going to cost an action. We go down to 3. Going to roll. A 2. Nothing happens. They failed to exploit the Arctic. Oh, it says do not spend an action. Oh, you jerk. Okay, so they're still at 4. Reinforce allies. Let's see if this one. Russia has relative strength on the Russia-NATO track that is lower than NATO. Yes, they're going to do this. I'm not going to touch this because they told us not to spend an action last time. We're going to roll a d10 and subtract 2. If the result is less than the current SOE value, move the Russia-NATO relative box into Russia's favor. So that's an 8, 7, 6. They're at 7. So they just spent an action to basically come over here and move this back towards Russia. Alright, that's done. There's no UN sanctions. Assist the Iranian nuclear program. Russia's relations with the US are less than 3. And the Iranian track is in the 1 or 2 box. These markers do come off because we haven't cyber attacked them. So they're going to go ahead and roll. We do need them to roll high here. And 8 is perfect. They fail. But that costs an action. I just want to burn their actions. That's all I'm interested in. Now they're down to 2. Assist the North Korea program. So now they're going to do the same. Except there's no DRMs on this one. The last DRM didn't apply either. It was if you had a sanction on Iran. I think this was in the FAQ that sanctions need to be on Korea, can affect the DRM as well. But it doesn't matter. They're going to try to help Korea get their nuclear. A 6 or more is a failure. So this goes down to 1. That is an excellent roll. Keep those tyrants down. Middle East influence. If there's fewer than 3 Russian influence counters, attempt to place one. Roll d10 and add the Middle East regional alignment if it's 10 or less. Alright, that is going to be their final action, as you can see. They're going to go down to 0. They're going to roll here. They rolled a 7, which is excellent. And then we add our Middle East alignment, which is 6. That's 13. Higher than 10, so they don't get to add an influence here. So that was Uh, all things considered, this was actually a pretty good outcome for us. All right, so now we move to any three actions. And I don't know what I want to do. Domestically, we're rocking it. We got Congress where we want it. We got so many bills to pass. I do need to move this to the right. The radicals are going. I'm sorry, we have more moderates than radicals. So we got it exactly where we want it. Our party controls both houses. So we always get to propose whatever bills we want. Everything's rolling on all cylinders. We have this. I do need this to go back up, but I think plenty of things will do that. Homeland Security is my number one concern, and I don't know how to improve the Homeland Security track. I can't. This is the only way here, and I have it as my number one priority. And there are threats everywhere. So if we do have to do domestic, we can always try to raid and, destroy these threats. But for now, the focus is out here. And we know China is going to try to form a base. So we can do things to try to move this up to 6. So we can start getting rid of these influence markers. I have one more influence marker I can remove from here, but I got to get that down to 0. This one is ready to pop. We have a war that we would like to assist them with. We can do that with a cyber attack. So we can cyber attack Iran. I think that is the first thing I'm going to do. Let's cyber attack Iran. We have a nice +2 advantage on our enemies. So we're going to go after their military and government structure. I need a 3 or less to pull this off. So here we go. A 10 is not going to cut it. I'm going to spend an AP. 6 is better. We do have some DRMs that go our way, so let's check. We get a -2 because we're above Russia and China by at least 2. So that becomes a 4. Then we get a -1 because it's Iran. That makes it a 3. Oh my gosh, I needed a 3, didn't I? Yes, I did. Wow, I just barely made it, but that was worth the AP point. And so it's a major success. We adjust the relative strength on all 3 of Iran's conflict tracks by 1 in the opposite favor. So Iran is already losing there. This one goes to +1 Saudi Arabia. And then this one is already anti-Iran as far as it can go. So that's number 1. And then it says, if Iran is at war, immediately remove 2 strength from their side, and then they get -2 DRM on detecting us. So this is the part I was gunning for. We took them down to a 1. And then, who else is it? Israel's at war with them. Holy crap, I didn't recognize that. So that means they went to 0 strength. Hold on. This war was 1. Did I just forget to... I forgot to take the counters off, didn't I? Yeah, because the war 1 marker's over here. I just forgot to return everything. My apologies, folks. See, that confuses me. I don't like being confused. Always reset your wars. But this one drops it down to a 1, so now they finally have a 3-1 advantage. Because remember, this has been in a stalemate, and they've both been just killing each other. So hopefully that will resolve itself just fine now. Okay, so great cyber attack, but now we gotta roll a low number here. And 8 is not very low. We do get a -2. Puts it down to a 6. That does drop us a level, which was very good. Iran is incensed but uncertain. They have no proof. +1 tensions on Iran and Israel. One on Iran. One on Israel. And then we roll a d10. And we rolled a 4. So no further effect. This is the one that's bad, where they cause terror to grow. Okay, so action 1, cyber attack, successful. Action 2, we need to get these regional crises down for both Africa and here. So I'm going to just... I know it sucks, but I gotta spend one turn each to bring both of these down. I would like to get rid of influence markers for sure, but I gotta do that. So action 1 is a success. Action 2, also a success. That's very important because if we progress wars, we're gonna, because of the war here, we're gonna make it move up. And then our war is also here, I believe. So I'm just gonna put it there. So unfortunately, we have two wars going on in the Middle East, so this is gonna cause a major crisis if we progress wars, which will happen here. Alright, now we're gonna have bad things happen to us. We're gonna draw 3 cards. 1, 2, 3. How the heck did that get up there? Alright, card 1. We are the world. Oh, this might be a good one. If both Russia and China posture is 1, join a massive world effort. If either Russia or China posture is greater than 1, or you are unwilling to spend 2 APs, ignore the above event and instead +1 crisis in Africa. Ah, you jerk. It's your fault! That was going to be a really good one. We are the children. Alright. Influential congressman caught in a web of lies. We're going to roll to see if it's us or a friend or an enemy. Oh, we do not want a 1 to 3. We actually want a higher number on this one. 4 to 6. Let's go. Yes. Okay, we rolled a 6. Congressional opponent. It is not a result of opponent. Either defend them and remove the opponent from the opponent's box. +1 approval, -1 party relations. Move bipartisan 1 to the right. Or attack them. +1 relations, +1 approval, move bipartisan 1 to the left. See, we have 6. So if I let my party relations go down, I'm going to lose one of my people. That might not be a bad thing. I'm going to defend them. We're going to go +1 public approval. Party relations is going to drop, which makes me lose one of these. And I'm going to choose to lose a radical. I know it's one of my 3s, but I am outnumbering this guy by a mile. So we're going to get rid of one of our radicals. So we still have more moderates than radicals. And it does remove the opponent from the opponent's box. So they have none at all. So we're winning by a mile, and this moves it over to the right. So we got all of our domestic ducks in a row. Domestically, we got everything where we want it. This goes here to the reshuffle. Okay, last one. Cyber theft. +1 domestic crisis. -2 public approval. Roll D10. It's a 10. DNI resigns. -1 to cabinet effectiveness. That just means that goes off. And then this is a cascading thing. Alright, so that was 3. There's no plus sign. So now we go to a rogue group. I'm shuffling. First group is Group B. I always hit my keyboard. Group B is United Kingdom. Alright, welcome to the party. So we're going to get 2 actions because they're very close. There's only 1 tension marker on them. I'm not too concerned about that. The United Kingdom can go after these terror groups pretty well. If they do an intel, they get 2 successes, and it's auto success. They can de-escalate an ally conflict track. They can try to stabilize their region. They can try to reduce regional crisis. By doing humanitarian aid. Or they can reinforce an ally in a war. No, they can reinforce themselves. Okay, an intel would be nice, but I feel like we have regional crisis going on everywhere. This one's ready to pop. This one needs to go down, and I need to spend 2 actions bringing both of those down. And use the UK to do that. I'm not as concerned about these terror groups here at the moment. I know I should be. I mean, if I can do 2 successes, I can make that move over and that move up. And then the second one could be a raid. I mean, I can really start taking these down. Okay, I'm going to... No, I have to do the regional crisis. We're going to start with Africa first. That's a fail. Try again. I just failed twice in a row. Oh man. Okay, so now we just roll for the United Kingdom. We rolled a 5. They get a +1. There isn't a 3 or 4 terror group. There's just level 2s. No Russian influence. The Russia-NATO is greater than 1, so they get a +1. So if it becomes a 6... Oh no, it becomes a 7. That was 1 for the tension, so 6. 1 for the conflict track, that's 7. And US is at war, so that makes it 8. So an 8 for them is join US sanctions. Since there's no sanctions, they roll again. It's the same thing, so we're going to roll again. This time it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. Either place an economy improving counter on Eurozone track, or -1 to regional crisis in Eurozone or Eastern Europe. So we could remove this or reduce the regional crisis. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, the economy thing would have been nice too, but yeah, I think the trade agreement will make them better. Alright, next we move to Japan. And again, we're going to get 2 actions. They have no tension markers at all. And there's nothing going on in their own region. So yes, we're going to go for the African crisis. This time it goes down. Then we'll do Middle East. That one failed. Alright, then we're going to go ahead and roll for Japan. It's an 8. No tensions on Japan, which makes it a 7. And their conflict value with China, Japan is half rounded down, so it just becomes a 7. A 7 is humanitarian aid. Decrease regional crisis track by 1 in any region. So we're going to take this one and reduce it down to 1. I need to reduce this one too. There's a lot of regional crisis I need to reduce, but that was a good one for Japan. Next up is North Korea. So North Korea has 1, 2. And then we're going to roll a die for them. Lower is better. 8. The 2 makes it a 10. Middle East alignment is 6 or higher, so that makes it 11. I'm looking at the wrong track. I'm looking at Iran. I need to go to North Korea. Apologies. So we said 8. The 2 makes it 10. There's no sanctions. They get half rounded up from their track, which is a 1. So that makes it 11. And they get plus 2 if the relative strength favors themselves. So that's why we went so hard to move this back to equal, to take away their plus 2. So they're at 11. We are in the blue zone. They do add 1 to their missile track. Yeah, it's going to add 1 to their missile track. Place 1 tension counter on Japan and South Korea. So the action itself is pretty easy. It's just 1 tension on Japan and 1 on South Korea. But they do move up the missile track. So now they're here, so 1 tension on all of them again. So 1 on China, Japan, South Korea, North Korea, and I think Australia? No, just those. So we do need to get that to go down. So more cyber attacks. We went after the infrastructure of Iran. We should have gone after, their ability to raise their nukes. But anyways, Korea's finally getting in the business. Okay, so we did theirs. Next up is unstable states in Eurozone and Eastern Europe. I don't think there are any. Nope, there's 1 in Eurozone. We rolled a 3. It gets removed. Alright. That is it. And in fact, because the stability was so high, that would have been a 1 or whatever. Okay, that is it for the rogue state and allies. Now we get to do our cabinet focus. I'll start at the top. We actually do need to improve RWC by 1, but I need a miracle roll. Didn't get it. Then we're going to... this could work. Nothing. Then a decreased terror group. This one we really need. We got it. Decreased terror group by 1. Done. And then we're here. Success. We can do plus 3 public approval or plus 1 and plus 1 media relations. We'll do plus 3. Then we got this one. Minus 1 to domestic crisis. Perfect. And then this one. We failed. Okay. Good use of those. We hit the ones we really wanted. The RWC would be nice, but it's not perfect. Then media relations goes down. 2 domestic actions, and then we do legislative. So for domestic action, we're going to remember we said we're pretty happy with where everything is, so we're going to go gung-ho on this Homeland Security stuff. So we're going to try to track terror. We have to make a Homeland Security check. That's the only problem. Homeland Security is low. That's why it's a problem. So we're going to try to move this one space to the right. And so we have to get a 4 or less, which we did. So that's good. So that succeeded. That was one action. It says move the terror group in one box to the right on the CONUS intel track or onto the gathering box. If you move it into the target fixed box, you may make another Homeland Security track check. If you pass, we get to launch an immediate raid. So it's going to be hard, but let's try it. We passed. Wow. Okay, so we get to do an immediate raid, and that requires domestic charts. So we're doing a domestic raid, 13. Okay, DRMs. -1 if Homeland Security is the #1 cabinet focus, which it is. +1 if it's a level 3 or 4 terror group. Alright, so we're going to get a -1 because we have the POTUS focus. If the Homeland Security was 6 or more, we would have gotten another -1. So obviously the lower numbers, the better. So let's go for it. Ooh, a 2. And that's going to reduce to a 1. Major success. Decrease terror group by 2 levels. Well, we only needed 1. But we got them. And +2 to public approval. Survivor scatter. Move terror group to the gathering intel box on the intel track. So we're going to put another one up there, that's a big help. And -1 domestic crisis, which we're already at 0. Alright, for the second action, we're going to do an intel to move this to the right. And again, I need a 4 or less every time. Do I want to spend an AP? I'm currently sitting on 24. I'm only in the first segment. Yeah, I'll do it. It worked. We move it 1 to the right. Once we get it here, we can try again. And then we have 2 more to get rid of. I can't think of a quicker way to do this. This is brutal. And this track just stays stuck. In fact, I'm going to do a quick Google, like how can I increase Homeland Security? So I did not do the Google because I just realized if we look at our domestic book here, the effects of legislation, page 4, there's a Homeland Security bill. You get +1 Homeland Security when it passes if it's a landmark bill. But see, if it's not a landmark bill, it's just public approval, that's it. So the only time you get Homeland Security to go up is if it was a landmark bill. Ugh. Okay, so we did our 2 domestic actions. Now we do legislative segment. And that, as you know, we can cover here. Okay. I need to pause 1 second. Because while I was looking up things, somebody said something that tweaked my interest. They said that I can propose these GSIs, which I didn't think was possible. Because, like, the security and defense one would be really nice to get out there. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, so the governing manual tells us that as long as the domestic crisis is at zero, which hasn't always been true, which it is this time, we are allowed to propose any of these bills as if it was a normal bill. And it has to go into the +1 track, so it's harder to pass. But only one of these at a time can be up here. And of course, we're still limited to 5. No more than 5 bills allowed. So we would have to, get rid of one, possibly, before we propose a new one. But if we pass one of these, that makes room for us to propose another one. So looking at it, there's a lot of really nice ones. They let us improve our capabilities, etc. But the security defense one could improve Homeland Security. And then of course, so can this. But only if it becomes a legendary or landmark bill. And then this one only improves Homeland Security if you pass it the second time. So we'd have to get it up, pass it, and then get it up again. It's a tall order, but those are things we can do to get that passed. All right, let's start at the top. So we are dominating everything. We have total cooperation. So we have a greater than 3. So we can move that many bills one box towards whether we want it to pass. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, like that. So we got 3 of them in the -2 box, and then we got these 2 creeping towards it. Then we can attempt to pass bills. We control both houses, so we choose which ones. And the number we can attempt to pass, we roll a d6, and it's got to get to a 1 to 3. We have to apply the DRM from the pending box, which is either a -2 or a -1, and get it to pass. The number in the current box is the number of bills we can attempt to pass. We can try to pass 2 of them. So we can try to get this Homeland Security with a -1, because we need it badly. We got infrastructure, energy independence, and that social security, which the opponents put in. So infrastructure isn't even on the list anymore because I took it off. The energy independence is on both of our lists at number 2. And healthcare reform, I think no, that's not it, is that one. So these 2 actually are more interesting than what's here, but let's try to pass some, because I would rather pass them than have to throw them away. So let's try to do energy independence. I'm just moving it over so we can see it. -2 to our roll. It's just a d6. There's no other modifiers. We need a 1 to a 3, so a 6 is horrible. Perfect. So we just passed energy independence. I'm going to sign it, so I'm not worried about that. And I'm going to try to pass Homeland Security. We only get a -1 to this one. And boom, we passed that one as well. So we just passed 2 bills. And now we got to find out if they're going to be landmark and all that. And that's where we do this. So we have to go to the D5 chart. So basically, I have to roll a 1 or less for this to work. The DRMs for this, I don't think there are any. How do I roll a less than 1? Oh, here we go. Nope, that's the congressional drama table. Oh, that's right. We get a -1 because we're in the rightmost box on the cooperation track. That's the only DRM. If we sign opponent's legislation, we get a -1 party relation. Yeah, and it's a D6. So we need a 1 or less for it to be landmark. If it is, really good things happen. A 2 to a 5 is a good bill. It can't be dysfunctional because no matter what, we're getting a -1 and we're only rolling a d6. So no matter what, good things are happening. But if we can get a really low, great thing. So let's do energy independence first. We rolled a 4, so that's going to be a good bill. And I'm just going to do both the rolls real quick. We're going to do Homeland Security as well. I need to roll a 2 or a 1. Ooh. Getting to a 2 is not good enough. A 2 is still just a good bill. So both of these did not. I can tell you for sure this is not going to improve our Homeland Security track, which is what we really wanted. But they still both pass, and of course I'm signing them both. So no legacy points for these. Let's go to bill number 5 first. So I'm just going in order. I roll to get either a +2 or +1 public approval. I don't need either, so I'm not even going to bother rolling. And yeah, Homeland Security is signed, and that's it. That's all we get. And then we go to number 11. +2 public approval and place a trending anti-US in the Middle East. Ooh, they don't like that we're becoming energy independent. Alright, I guess that makes sense. Alright, now there is more. So Homeland Security was our number 3, and energy dependence was both of our number 2s. So this is going to get taken off. I'm going to shuffle. And then both of these come off of ours. And there is one more table I gotta go to, because you get extra bonuses for doing that. So for getting a public priority number 2, we get 1 legacy point and 2 public approval. So we'll at least take the legacy point. And then for getting number 2 and number 3 of ours, we're going to get a legacy point and then 2 APs each. So we're going to get 4 AP. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was excellent. Like I said, our domestic stuff is churning really good. And getting back up to here, we didn't do a landmark. We're going to do how sausage is made. Lower is always better. So that was perfect. So we go to the drama table. I have a 0 or less. So approval is 60%. Relations with Congress is 7 or higher. Move a bill of your choice left by 1 box. Draw and add a friend. Otherwise, +1 RWC. And improve media relations. So it's letting me put a bill out. Or no, move a bill. That's all it's letting me do. So I can move like healthcare reform over. I'm not worried about that. I would rather take the +1 of this and +1 of that. That's the otherwise. It doesn't say I get to choose. It says if public approval is blah blah blah, do this, otherwise do that. Yeah, I don't think I get to do these. Even though that's what I would rather do. I'd rather do the otherwise. So it's letting me move a bill. And then I get to draw a friend. So yeah, I draw this guy all the time. Alright. Introduce some new bills. You can never have more than 5 bills. There is 1, 2, 3 of them currently in there. I'm going to be able to introduce 2 more. It's the number of bills that can be introduced. So I'm going to introduce security and defense, which has to go in +1. I know that's not listed here, which is why I think I've always missed it. And then I can't introduce these yet. What do we got going on? My number 1 is healthcare reform, and so is the public, which we have moved over. The public wants jobs, Social Security. I see the jobs. NASA funding. Where the heck Social Security? Oh, that's because Social Security's already there. Well, I can do. Let's get the job creation out there. That, of course, will be a -1. So we go. Now we're back up to 5 again. But we're a well-oiled machine. We're passing 2. We're introducing 2. Determine the media result. We're going to get a +3 of everything. If the result is a +3, we get to move this up anyways, so that's good. No scandal. Adjust bipartisan cooperation. We have 4 moderates, so we're doing great. Perform 1 immediate action of any type for each of your bills that were passed. We passed 2. So we get to do 2 things. Now, I could keep aggressively going after these terror groups, but we need to focus out here. I gotta get this to 0 to get rid of that. This to 0 to get rid of those. I want to get rid of influence counters, if I can. Everybody's very close, so we don't have to worry about those. We can spend actions to try to remove tensions from these countries. Russia gets 1. They had 2. I don't know what to do, actually. These regional crises do need to go down. So we're going to do a military assistance one here. Because we need to do a lot of military type stuff there. So we're going to do humanitarian aid. We're going to roll D10. A 4 is usually pretty good. We get to subtract our Secretary of Defense rating, which is a 2. But we have to add 1 if there's influence in a region, so it becomes a 3. So a trending pro-US counter gets put there, and -1 to regional crisis, which is perfect. And if it was already at 0, we get to remove a military footprint. So I think I'm going to do that again. A 3 is fantastic. So now this trending pro moves up, and then that moves to 0, and that pleases us to start disrupting all that influence. We can start gunning for it. Alright, I like pizza, Steve. Let's go. That was our 3 actions. I'm sorry, 2 actions that we got because we passed 2 bills. Now we draw a chit. We're doing 2 more cards. And this thing is laden with terrorism. You're invited to attend and deliver the keynote address. If we accept or decline, if we decline, -1, -1, +1. Accept -1. Removes an opponent. I'm going to decline, which I don't like the trend that this has dropped twice now. But I have to do it. -2, and that gets my party relations back up. Because that's the other problem. I don't want to drop down to 4 friends, and then I get 2 drop. I do have to get RWC up again. So that means when I do these priorities here, the relation with Congress needs to not be a 6 next time. Alright, next one. Oh, this looks like a good one. Place an improving counter on the US economy. Done. +2 public approval. It's like a yo-yo. Improving counter on the cabinet track. Done. Science and Technological Innovation Greater Society Bill in the past bills as landmark. Holy crap. This was just like that other one we had. Didn't we already have this one? Yes. Oh, we did because it was in the reshuffle pile. That's why I recognize this one. And apply the results of past legislation. If you had just passed the bill, then added military benefits, roll D10. We're going to do this first, the D10. Let's get a 1 to 5, baby. Yes! Improve a strategic capability of your choice. I'm going to go with Air Force. Just if we're too higher, that just gives them more crap so they're not focusing on cyber warfare so much. This one was fantastic. And then, of course, I have to put that in the reshuffle. So this Science and Tech Advanced 2, it's going to go down here and it's never going to come back because this is the highest it can go. And I'm so excited because level 1 was fantastic. Level 2 is going to be even better. So let me find it. It's D7 on the charts. Science and Tech. So now we just passed level 2. +1 to any strategic capability. So I get another +1. Fantastic. We're going to go ahead and move ground forces up. So now I got all kinds of gaps for them to worry about. +3 public approval. I think that's already maxed out, but let me check. It is. +1 U.S. goodwill and +1 world opinion. Ooh. Goes up to 6. The goodwill just keeps on coming. Then it says for a landmark bill, a good bill, or a dysfunctional bill. So I guess I got to roll for that. So I get a -1 because we're in cooperative thing, but only a roll of a 1 or a 2 is going to make it landmark. And it did. It's a landmark bill. I thought those were always landmark, but I guess. So it says 7 legacy points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're at 46 right now. At the end of the... So I'm looking at the governing manual. End of game is page 13. That's not what I'm looking for. I could have sworn there was a chart that shows all the presidents and how you're doing compared to them. I could be wrong. Alright, well, that was a nice surprise. We got that from these. So now we do focus national intelligence. I put them here and here. And I'm pretty sure... Yeah, we're just rolling. We're going to get a -1 because we have a bonus. Another -1. So we get a -2 to both. So we're going to roll for the Middle East first. I'm at a 1 or a 2. I can move a 3, 2, or 1 to the targeting box. I guess I'm moving a 1. Oh, I can move it to the targeting box. I'll move this to the targeting. Because it's in that order. If there are any remaining in the region, Move one to the gathering box. Done. If you go to war with one of your military actions in this segment, receive a surprise bonus. Or if we're involved in a war, add 2. Or if there's a civil war, I can share intel. Well, I guess I'm adding 2. Not that I need it that much. I'm at 17 to 4. You know what? 2 more actually would help. Because that's 19 to 4. I'm 1 short of making this 5 to 1. But, anyways, that's that. So now we're going to go ahead and do Africa. 7 minus 2 is 5. So not quite as good. Move a terror group to the locating box. Then move a different one to the gathering box. We are not involved in a war in that region. If there's a civil war, we're going to share intel with the UN. Make an immediate broker peace talks roll with a DRM of -2. Alright, I know there's a chart in the book here. Right there it is. So we're going to get a -2 because of the thing that initiated this. We're going to go after that civil war. Here we go. A 6 is not the best. It drops to a 4. Replace civil war with ceasefire and decrease regional crisis. That was actually really good. That was very good. So we get another ceasefire. This one just doesn't have the peacekeepers, which is going to make it get a -2 over here. But I'm still happy with that. That reduced it and reduced that. All because of this. That was really good. Alright, move back up. I believe we're done with this step. Okay, any 4 diplomatic or military actions. I'm going to stick to my guns with my strategy, and we're going to do summit and summit every time we get to here. We got to keep improving those relations and getting the bonuses from that. So we'll do summit, summit. That's 2 of our 4. I think we used a cyber attack here. See, that's against a rogue state, so we can do cyber attacks against other people. They do have these to show, like, for example, we cyber attacked Iran, so I can't cyber attack Iran again. But I'm thinking we're going to try to do one on there to reduce their nuclear program. So which one do I want to do first? Let's cyber attack. We're going to cyber attack South Korea first. Go after their nuclear program. Alright, I need a 2 or a less for this to succeed. It's really low. We got a 4, but see, we're going to get a -2 just because we have advantage. Then we get another -1 because it's Korea, so that becomes a 1. We totally have a major success going. Decrease the track by 1, and then -2 to their reaction roll. So we knock them back. We get to remove 1 tension from North and South Korea. Both of those are gone. I think I was supposed to replace, because these 2 I think were North Korea. So they should still have 1 more there. Alright, so cyber attack is used, and then we got to see their response. 7 does get a -2, which becomes 5, and that helps me immensely. They blame me but have no proof. +2 tensions on North and South Korea. They add 2 level 1 terror groups to the region and 2 tensions on each. That's interesting. Okay, I know that just by having alignment as high as we do and stability, these are going to get blasted, but that's good. Alright, that was very successful. That was action 1. We have 3 actions left. We're going to do 2 summits, and that'll leave me with 1 action. So, for the summit, let's do, we're going to do China first. China number 1. We used to play this video game. It's, why am I forgetting it? PUBG. That's what it was called. PUBG. And the whole point of it is you're in it looks like some kind of Russian area. You're parachuting in, and it's basically a last man standing scenario. So you have nothing when you land, and you have to find, like, you're searching dwarves and houses and all kinds of stuff to find ammunition and guns. Sometimes you get so lucky you find awesome equipment, and sometimes you're just screwed. And then the moment you land, somebody else could be landing next to you, and then you're having fistfights with each other, and then there's this circle that constantly decreases. So the zone that you can stay alive gets smaller and smaller. Think Hunger Games in a way. It's very Hunger Games like. Anyways, we used to play this a lot. My friends and I, we would get on and like play some of the co-op where we'd be teams of 4 or whatever. And anyways, there were these certain teams that if they won, they were from China, and they would go China number 1. They would like shout it into the. And so that's where it comes from. You always hear me say China number 1 because it's these guys were they were they were very enthusiastic. All right. Okay, so our relationship with them is at 4. That's very good. So that means we get 3 items. The first one is always going to be improve relations. And they get a 10. Alright, so they want to be able to put an influence out. I will let them. They want to put it there. And in doing so, we get rid of this marker. Next one. They're at 3 or higher. They can try to contain a rogue state in Africa, which I think I would like to do. We could also have them decrease 2 terror groups in any region, well, Asia Pacific or Central. We can decrease 2 terror groups in the chosen region by 1 level each. And we get a trending pro US. I actually like that one. If we do the -1 nuclear track on North Korea, their economy goes up, which is already maxed out. Yeah, we're gonna do anti-terror campaign, and we'll do it in. We could choose here or here. I'm gonna choose here, and I'm doing this because it's gonna improve our relationship. So we roll a 3. So they want a China influence and an AP. Ooh, I should have paid attention. So they get another one, and then this goes away. That's a tall thing to order, but it does destroy both of these terror groups. And more importantly, it puts that on the board. Then for the third one, we're going to try to contain the rogue state in Africa. We rolled a 1. So even with a 1, they want to put an influence. I'm sorry. They want an AP. So this is going to hurt us later. They get +1 AP for that. But here's what they do. They put a -1 AP counter on the rogue state and -1 regional crisis. So that rogue state, basically that causes them to lose a turn. Decrease the largest terror group in the region by 1 level. And that, by the way, I spent 2 action points for 2 of those actions. For the terror groups and for the rogue state. Alright, I gave a lot to China to get what I got. I gave them a lot of actions. That might burn us later. And it does say use the DRM at the box of China's relations, which is a -0, so that doesn't do anything. Okay, now we got to do our summit results. We did succeed at all 3, which is important. Rolling a 9 is not as good. Alright, so we get the worst of all of them, but we did succeed at 100%, so they're always good actions. It's just the other ones would have been way better. +2 public approval. Remove 2 tensions from China. And it does trend to the US. Alright, so that's that for them. Now we go to Russia, and their situation's a lot different. We only get 1 action, so we're going to try to improve our relationship with Russia. A 9 is not good. They want an influence in Eastern Europe. So we agree, so that lets us remove this. That's all it lets us do. Now we're going to roll for our summit conclusion. Oh, come on. Another 9. We just get public approval. We don't even get further improvement. That was not a good success. Alright, I do note that I still have 1 more action. And yeah, we're going to use it to remove the influence we just got. I'll spend an AP, roll again. That was not good. I think I needed a 1 to 6 for the influence. I did. So we failed both times there. Alright, that brings us to the end. Thanks for watching. Stay awesome.